Welcome to BaseballGuys.com. I'm your host here on Around the Horn, Ray Flowers. Clayton Kershaw, who's one of the top left-handed pitchers in all of baseball, he's now been suspended 5 games by Major League Baseball for his role in the Giants-Dodgers scuffle last night. What happened? Tim Lincecum threw a couple of pitches up and in toward Matt Kemp. The Dodgers chose to retaliate. Clayton Kershaw hit Aaron Rowan in the leg, totally legitimate, but he was ejected from the game, so he has now been suspended for throwing at a batter. Now, he appealed the suspension right after it came down, so he's at this point still scheduled to make his next start. We'll have to wait and see what happens as far as the Major League Baseball office adjudicating this matter. It's one of those scenarios where, look, what's going to happen? The Dodgers are going to appeal this. They're a West Coast team. They're not going to get to New York to have a hearing until there's a point where the Dodgers can figure out a way to get an extra day off for Kershaw. Major League Baseball really needs to do something when it comes to suspending pitchers. Teams have become far too adept at maneuvering around the rules and keeping those pitchers in the starting rotation. Brett Myers, another pitcher on the hill, not one that has as much talent as Clayton Kershaw, but one that could be on the move come the trade deadline, which is less than 2 weeks away at this point. Now, Myers has made 20 starts this season for the Astros, and in each one of those 20 starts, Brett Myers has gone at least 6 innings, folks. That's an all-time record for the Astros. It's the longest current streak in baseball. 20 straight outings of at least 6 innings pitched. A contending team that picks him up may not be getting a top-flight arm, but they're definitely getting an arm that they can count on every 5 games. Lots of players in the news with that approaching trade deadline in addition to Brett Myers. I'll run through a few of them rather quickly. First off, we got Jose Bautista, major league leader in home runs. There's a mailbag piece at fanball.com. People can go there and read my thoughts on Bautista. They're not good, just to give you a little hint there. But Bautista is on a lot of teams' wish lists. We've got teams like the Tigers, the Braves, the White Sox, the Giants, all apparently in the mix to add the home run hitting outfielder who can also play third base. He's one of the big names. Another big name across the diamond is Prince Fielder. Now, Prince Fielder is apparently on the wish list of the White Sox, who have also tried to acquire Adam Dunn from the Nationals unsuccessfully. The White Sox seem willing to part with Daniel Hudson as a centerpiece of a deal for Prince Fielder. The Brewers, for their part, look at Hudson and think 3rd or 4th starter. They'd like a number 1 or number 2 guy to be the centerpiece of a deal for this power-hitting Prince Fielder. So it doesn't look like that deal's going to get done unless the White Sox are willing to sweeten their offer. David DeJesus is another outfielder who's in the news, and he, just like Bautista, a lot of teams interested in him. We've got names like the Red Sox, the Giants, the Padres, all at the forefront for DeJesus. Hitting .320 right now. He's never hit above .307 before. He's got about a .290 career batting average. He can do some things. Not a great guy on the bases, not a great power hitter, not necessarily a great batting average hitter, but he does everything very well, plays some pretty good defense, and he would be an excellent add to a team looking to get that boost come playoff time in the stretch drive in 2010. And then finally on the trade front, a couple of other names. Jayson Werth. Big news with Jayson Werth. There's a rumored deal that might send him to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay would then take prospects that they receive, flip those for Roy Oswalt. That's something that's been out there. Apparently the Phillies are getting pretty close to the point where they're going to have to make a decision on whether or not to hold Werth and hope they can re-sign him in the offseason, which doesn't look like a feasible possibility at this point, or move him and try to get something here that can be beneficial to the club either at the end of this season or moving forward. Also, we've got the Angels looking at additions that they could potentially make at first base. Jorge Cantu and Adam LaRoche have been rumored to be in the sights of the Angels. Now, the Angels have Mike Napoli there. I don't really know why they're so reluctant to give Napoli work every day at first base. He's on a pace that would give him, over the entirety of a season of about 265, 35, 90. That's pretty darn good and not much worse than the guys are looking at adding. I'd like to see Mike Napoli get the chance to play every day, especially since he's catcher eligible in fantasy leagues. The Mets are looking for some bullpen help here as they come down to the trade deadline. Names have been mentioned: Octavio Dotel, Chad Qualls, and then the third guy, Scott Downs, the lefty from the Blue Jays. Now, Qualls might be the guy they can get. He probably won't cost that much. He's got a horrific ERA. His whip is over 2 this season. But if you look beneath that, he's still a strike thrower. He's still a guy that gets a tremendous amount of ground balls. And with just a little bit of luck, his hit rate right now is like over 450. It's absolutely absurd. If that number were to come down, he could go on a really nice run to end the season. So look for all 3 of those guys to potentially be moved at the deadline, possibly at least one to the Mets. Pedro Martinez, a pitcher that was looked at to be a guy who could come in and make some starts at the end of the season this year, well, apparently it's not going to happen. Martinez's agent spoke with ESPN Deportes today and said Pedro will not pitch in 2010. Nearing 40 years of age, this might be the end of the road for Martinez. He could, I guess, come back next season, but after sitting out the entirety of 2010, it seems probable at this point, you have to think we might have seen the last of the great Pedro Martinez. Scott Sizemore has now been called up to the Tigers. The Tigers lost their third baseman, Brandon Edge, to an injury. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. Sizemore, who's really a second baseman, spent some time, down at AAA at the third base position. His bat has been white hot of late. The Tigers will call him back up. They'll put him in the lineup, let him play every day at third base. If he's on your AL-only waiver wire at the moment, grab him. He's going to be out there every day for the next month. And then finally, an issue that really I find hard to believe. Crawford last night, if you didn't see it, pickoff throw to first base, wasn't caught, and hit him squarely in the groin area. Knocked the wind out of him, knocked him down to the ground, knocked him out of the game. He had some testicular issues. He's okay, but he's got some bruising and swelling. He's not playing tonight. He should return to the lineup soon. Why wasn't he wearing a cup? That's a very good question. I wore a cup from the age of 7 on. It's, to me, part of the baseball uniform. It's kind of like playing a baseball game without a glove, but apparently he didn't wear a cup. He says he will not wear a cup moving forward. And I posted this at twitter.com/baseballguys on my account there. And I think it's the issue that has got the most traction in the last month. All kinds of people saying it's just odd to wear a cup. I don't know about you, but I'd like to protect the family jewels if I was out on the baseball diamond. I'm Ray Flowers, baseballguys.com. Thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you all again soon.